Welcome back. This is the Kubernetes workshop series part number 5. And in the previous video, we have seen basics of Docker networking. Now, in this video, we'll talk about Docker orchestration, which will include Docker networking, which will include Docker Swarm, which we have seen before. And it's going to be a little bit of different, and you will see some extra concepts. Now, we have never started Kubernetes yet, but what I felt was before you start Kubernetes, you need to have a basic understanding of a couple of concepts on Docker images, containers, how it is being built, what kind of layers are there. You need to understand about Docker networking, orchestration, and in the next video, I'm going to talk about Docker volumes. So, couple of things. Hopefully, after my Docker volume video, we will start the Kubernetes. But these things, it's very important. So make sure that you are good with these concepts and commands. Yeah. Now, in today's video, we'll talk about Docker orchestration. Yeah. So what we're gonna do here is, let me open a white pad. So I will just show you what we're gonna do. Yeah. So here, the first use case which I'm going to do here is, so first use case is, I'm going to launch a node 1. Node 1 means I'm going to launch an EC2 instance, and I'm going to install Docker, and I'm going to run a container. Yeah. And this is my first use case, and I'm going to show you what is this all about. Now my second use case is going to be like this. My second use case is, my second use case is I'm going to launch 2 more instances. Yeah. So this is my node 1, and this is my node 2, and this is my node 3. And here obviously we'll have same Docker. And say for example, here this container is running, and couple of users are accessing this host. Yeah, like this. Now the problem here is, if this goes down, what's going to happen? Obviously, connection will be trouble, and they will be getting page cannot be displayed, or they will be complaining that the application is down, not working. Yeah? And this is not a high available, not high available architecture. So for that, the upgraded version is something called Docker Swarm, which we will slowly see. Docker Swarm is nothing but it is an orchestration model of Docker. So what happens is, instead of running one application in one single host or single machine, Docker Swarm says, hey, you can distribute the application which you have deployed in multiple hosts, node 1, node 2, and node 3, which we are going to see that. Okay, so without any further ado, what I'm going to do is, let me go back to my instances. AWS dashboard. I'm clicking on launch instances here, and I'm gonna make it 3 instances. Okay, and for now I'm just name it as node. Then I will re-tag it Amazon Linux 2 version AM t2.micro. Just proceed without a key pair and edit. I'm going to be in default VPC, and security group, I'm using my security group called my website SG. If you want to see what are the inbound rules and outbound rules, click on my first tab. You can see the same thing. For my demo purpose, I've allowed all the traffic here. If you see, I've allowed all the traffic, and go back and then click on launch instances. Now the instances will be launched. It will take a couple of minutes, and if you click on launch log, it will say succeeded. Yeah. Now you can click on instances on the back, and then click on refresh here. So here it will say node. So I'm clicking on this icon, the tag icon. So here, if you click on this, it will say node 1. Save it. Okay, and then you can change it to this one as a node 2 for our easy identification, guys. Yeah, and then this one is node 3. Perfect. Now click on this. So we have node 1, node 2, and node 3. So let's do like this, guys. So yeah, cool. Node 1, node 2, and node 3. So I'm clicking on node 1. I'm clicking on connect. Yeah, so hit on connect. Let's take the first use case. We have seen this before. I'm doing it again. Okay, great. So what I'll do first, I'll update the repos. Yeah, so let it run. Great. What is next? So the next one is you have to install Docker. In Amazon Linux 2, Docker won't be there. Sudo yam install docker-y. So docker-y. So the Docker would be installed. Okay, now the Docker is also installed. Now if you remember, if you type systemctl status docker, it will say it is not running status docker. Okay, it says inactive. See, what is the active status? The active status is inactive, it's dead. So what will you do is sudo systemctl start docker. So if you do that, this Docker will start running. See this, systemctl status docker. It is running. Okay, well and good. Now the next step is, if you remember, you have to when you install Docker, there is a group created called Docker. You have to add your ec2-user into that group so that you can run any commands, yeah, without running sudo. So else you have to switch to the user. For example, I'll just show you an example. Okay, I think I've shown this in the previous video, but just repeating again. So for example, docker run -dt ubuntu sleep and then infinity. So what exactly this command does is this will try to launch a container from the base image Ubuntu, and it will be running in the background, and the command which is going to run as just a simple command as a sleep, and it will be running for the infinity, and this command will just make sure that the containers are running. That's it, nothing else. So if you hit it, see, you're getting a permission error. It says got permission denied while trying to connect to the Docker daemon. So we need to have permission. This ec2-user which you're logged in, if you type id, see, you are logged in with the ec2-user. If you type who am I, you will say, okay, you have logged in with this id. Now this id does not have access to run the Docker commands. Okay, so for that, if you type cat etc group, okay, now you will see the Docker group is no user has been added here. See, it's empty. Okay, so what will you do? The same thing, sudo user mod -a-g add to the group. Docker is a group and ec2-user is the user id. Yeah, now in order to make sure that this is effective, I'll just exit out. Okay, now I'll just refresh the screen again, and it will try to refresh, relog in. Once you relog in, you will be able to run the Docker commands. And also if you want to say get etc then group, you will see for this Docker group, the ec2-user is added. Now if you run Docker, I'm going to run the container, docker run -dt and the Ubuntu and then sleep and then infinity is the command. So if you do this, see, now the Docker container is running and we got the permission. Now what we have done here, if you see, let me delete this, and so what we have done here is we have in node 1 we have installed Docker and we have run a container. That's it. So if anybody is trying to access this container, yes, they will be able to access, no problem. It should work. Yeah, but the problem here is if the node 1 goes down. Okay, so if the node 1 goes down, what's going to happen? So for example, if this entire node 1 is out or crashed, if this entire node 1 is crashed, means what are you going to do? 1 minute, guys. Yeah, if this entire node 1 is going to go, then all the connections will go off. Now Docker found this problem long time back, so after that they came up with a concept called Docker Swarm. So what is Docker Swarm? Docker Swarm is nothing but it is an orchestration tool. Okay, now if you see this, how do you do this orchestration tool? Okay, that is what I'm going to do. Before that, if you type docker ps here, so this container will be running, and it is running, which we've started now. Okay, but as I said, this is running on one single node, only one node. But what if this node goes down? So that is what our exercise is going to be. Yeah? And for this, we're gonna configure the swarm mode. Yeah, we have seen this before. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna type node 1 here. So this is node 1, this is node 2, and this is node, sorry, this is node 3. Now I'm going to install Docker on all the things, that is basic. Now here I'm going to do some command called swarm init, which we have seen this before. When you do swarm initialization, what happens is it is trying to form, and this will become a manager node or leader node, and this whoever joins to the swarm, they will be a worker. And this guy, right, this manager guy will tell who can run the application, who can run the containers. He will distribute the workloads. Okay, so that is the basic concept of this Docker swarm. Okay, now let's do this. So what is the first thing? I'm in the node 1. So Docker swarm init. See, init means initialization. Then now there is a command called advertise, addr, advertise the address, and then dollar host name dash I clore enter. When you do this, you're getting this command. So what does it say? See this, swarm initialized, current node is now a manager. Now which one is a manager? Node 1 is a manager. See, this one is the manager, right? This one is the manager. Okay, so manager means what? Who manages the things, who manages everything. Yeah, now this is a manager. Now it says to add a worker to the swarm, run the following command. So if we want to add this node 2 or this node 3 into this cluster, into this swarm, then you need to what? You need to run this particular command in node 2 and node 3. So for that, I'm going to instances, and let me log into node 2, click on connect, and then click on connect. Now let me switch the tab. Node 1 is here, node 2 is here. Now let me go to node 3 as well. So here node 3, and then click on connect, and then click on connect. Now this is node 1, this is node 2, and this is node 3. Okay, so we got node 1, node 2, and this is node 3. So node 1, I'm going to take this command. This is a token. So right click, copy, right click. Okay, before that, I don't remember we have installed Docker here. Even if you run this command here, I think it will fail because the Docker is not there in node 2 and node 3. So what we will do is quickly, we will run the updates. Yeah, let's do this, and let's not take time. Update. Okay, you can ask me, Samir, why didn't you do this bootstrapping? You could have done this, right? Yes, but people who are directly watching this video, maybe they would be wondering what I'm doing. So I'm just doing all the basics, guys. Okay, so okay, this is done, and I'm gonna install Docker also in node 2, and Docker also in node 3. Yum install docker y. So all done, awesome, perfect. Now after that, if you remember, we need to add sudo user mod -a-g, and then docker ec2-user, that will be added. So here also the same thing, sudo user mod -a-g docker ec2-user. Okay, ec2-user. So that is also done. After that, the next one is I'm gonna exit out, and here also I'm gonna exit out, and I'll just refresh the node 2, and here also I'll refresh the node 3. So let it come. So once it comes, just to make sure that the Docker is running or not. Yeah, so here we go, systemctl status docker. Okay, it's not running. Sudo systemctl start docker, right, it is running, and sudo systemctl start docker in node 3 as well. This is also running. Cool, guys. So now what's next? Copy the command, join token command, go to node 2, right click, paste as plain text, and click on enter. this node joined the swarm as a worker, node 2. This is node 2. Yeah. Now going to node 3, right click, paste as plain text, enter. This node joined the swarm as a worker. Now what happened? We have a manager, and this is a worker, and this is a worker. This is node 1, this is node 2, and this is node 3. Now go to node 1, and what I'm going to do here, clear. Okay, in case if you forgot this token, okay, Samir, I forgot the token, I missed it, maybe you can say like that. If you miss it, okay, what you can do is there is always a command to check this. Say for example, you missed the token in the, okay, go to your manager node and just type docker swarm join hyphen token hyphen worker. So if you do this, it will give the command again. Okay, remember that. Yeah, so cool. So where are we right now? We are in manager node, we are in node 1. Yeah, so here the first thing what I would say is, if you type docker info, okay, this is a command which it will tell you whether the swarm mode is really enabled or not. Okay, if you scroll down a little bit, see there is something called swarm, and it is active. It means your swarm is active, your cluster is active, orchestration is active. Yeah, now the next thing what we're going to do is, we already joined the workers, node 2 and node 3, and node 1 is a manager. Now there is a command here, docker node list. ls means list. You list out the list of nodes connected to the swarm cluster. If you click on this, it will tell you, see, we got 3 nodes. And we have seen this command in the previous video. So it will tell you that star means from where you have executed this command, and this is the leader node. Leader means manager node. Yeah, so everything is in ready status, everything is ready to accept the connections. Okay, now if you go to the node 1, the worker node, if you type here, if you type docker node ls, it will not work. See, this node is not a swarm manager. Okay, so you can run that command only from the leader or manager node. Okay, so that is the first thing. Now the next thing is, we're going to deploy the applications across multiple hosts right now. Okay, so for that, obviously where you have to go is, you have to be in a manager or leader node. You have to run this command. You cannot run the command in the worker node. Okay, so I'm going to create a service called docker service create hyphen name, and then I'm going to create a service name called sleep application, and I'm going to use image called Ubuntu, and I'm going to run this command which we have ran in a single container before. So if you run this, what happens is, the service is getting created, okay, with the name sleep application using the Ubuntu image, and this is the command which is running on the containers. Okay, now if you see docker space service space ls, see, now you can ask me, Samir, what is service? Okay, service is the only way of deploying your application in the docker swarm mode. Okay, just like we do docker run in a single host, but when you're doing something in docker swarm mode, you have to use this command, docker service. Yeah, now see this, docker service ls. So it says sleep app is the name, and it says one container is running, because we never mentioned how many replicas it should work. Replicas means number of containers, because we never mentioned the replica details in this command, which means default it will take only one container is running. Remember that. Yeah, now if you type docker ps, see this, what does it says? This is the container which I had run first time. Okay, maybe just to avoid the confusion, I will just docker stop, and then I will just remove that container, the old container which I ran during my first introduction video. So docker stop 79e. The 79e is nothing but first 3 or 4 digit, 4 character you can type. Now if you type docker rm 79e, now that should work. Now if you type docker docker ps, so now see, okay, let me do it again, docker ps. So there is only one container running. Oh, now see this. Yeah, this is a container which we started using the service command. So if you type docker service ls, docker service ls, see this, it is running over here. But if you go to node 2, if you see docker ps, no containers running. If you go to node 3, if you type docker ps, no containers running. So where is this container running? It's running on the manager node. Now you can ask me, Samir, manager node, is it only managing or it will do the task also? Yes, it does both. It will run the containers, it will do the application task, and it will be managing. It's a dual thing. But if it is a worker node, the worker node will be working. It will not manage the things. Remember that. Okay, so that's why the leader, you know the difference between the leader and boss, right? Boss means it will be bossing. He will just give you the command and the workers should work. But leader, he will do the command and he will do the work as well. So that's a beautiful name they have given, I believe. Okay, cool. Now the next thing here is I don't want replica one. I don't want only one container to be running. I want more containers to be running, because my application became so famous in Play Store and Apple Store, and lot of guys is trying to access, and I feel like I want more containers to be running so that it can sustain the load. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do docker service, and then I'm going to add a command called update and hyphen replicas means I'm going to talk about this replicas. Okay, and I'm going to give it to 7, and this is the service name. Okay, so just sleep hyphen app. So what it does is it will update the service called sleep app with 7 containers. Replicas means containers. Now if you hit it, what happens? See, it is trying to preparing, running, and after a few seconds everything would be running status. Okay, now now if you type docker service ls, see what does it say? 7/7. Earlier it was 1/1. Now it says 7/7. It means 7 containers are running. Now if you type docker service ps sleep hyphen app, if you do this, what it says is it will try to find the process of sleep app where on which node it is running. See here, we have 7 containers are running, and all these 7 containers are running in different nodes. See, this is in one node, this is so what is this 172.31.91.42, which is nothing but your master node here. See this? So in 42 you're getting two containers are running. See this? This is one and this is one. Okay, great. Now if you type docker ps, see, yeah, 2 containers are running, correct. Now if you see 63, where is 63 here. So how many containers are running? Docker ps. So earlier it was none, but after we updated it, 2 containers are running. And if you go here, docker ps in node 3, getting 3 containers are running. So what exactly this did was we executed a command to update the replicas in one manager node, and the manager node distributed the containers where to execute in different nodes. So that is the beautiful things of this. Yeah, so great. Now 7 containers are running. Now what I do is my Christmas day or some sort of holiday is over, and I'm not expecting much traffic. So what will you do here is docker service update hyphen replicas. Then I'm just bringing down to 4, and I'm going to give this service name sleep app. Now see, it will reduce the traffic. Now after this, if you run docker service, okay, ps sleep, okay, maybe if you type docker service ls, say 4/4 replicas. Now if you type docker service ps sleep hyphen app, which is nothing but this is the name of the app, this is the service. So if you type it now, if you see, only 4 containers are running. Where it is running? It's running on 42, 2 are running on 63, and 1 is running on 154. So if you type docker ps here, only 1 container is running. If you type docker ps, 2 containers running, and if you type docker ps here, only 1 container is running. So it has reduced it. So we have scaled up, we have scaled down. Now say for example node 2, okay, you're facing some issues with the node 2 and you want to bring down the node 2. You want to make sure that whatever containers are running, okay, if you see there are 2 containers are running, yeah. So you feel like there is an issue with the node 2 and you want to bring down for the maintenance. You feel like you want to upgrade some RAM or something else, yeah, which is affecting the performance of this machine. But you are very I mean, you're very clear, like, I don't want these containers to be lost, or I don't want any issues, disruption to the application. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring down the node. When I say bring down the node, it means draining the node, draining. Okay, drain the node, and you're gonna reschedule these two containers to some other node, maybe node 1 or node 3. So that is what we're gonna do. Okay, for that, go back to your manager node, just type docker node ls. So currently, if you see ready, active, which is good. Now I'm gonna type docker ps here. So here only one container, guys. In node 2, 2 containers. In node 3, we have only one container. Remember that. Okay, now what we're gonna do here is we are going to perform the drain command, guys. Okay, which is very important. So how do you do the drain command? In the manager node, if you type docker then node, even if you type docker node, just hit enter, it will tell you the list of commands which you can add. Okay, now if you type docker node, make sure you run these commands only in the manager. If you type update, it will tell you, okay, after update, what do you want to add. So it just gives you this option. See this, docker node update -- help. If you do this, okay, here you are getting lot of options, availability and etc. So what we're going to do is docker. So see this, docker and then node update -- availability, and then you're gonna drain the node. That's what. And what is a node ID? You need to have the node ID. Okay, so that is very important. So if you go to node ls, so we got node ID here somewhere. Where is it? Node ID, yeah, this is the node 2 ID, right? Let me check the node 2 ID. Node 2 is 63, right? Okay, where is 63? This is 63. So this is the node 2 ID. So copy this and then come back, and then you put right click and then paste as plain text, enter. Now if you type docker node ls, now it will tell you, see this, it is in drain. Now the problem here is, if you go to this instance, if you type docker ps, okay, let's see what happened. These containers should not be running. See this, now the containers are gone. Now these two containers have gone to some other node. So how will you see that? Now here if you see docker ps, already in node 3 we have only one container is running. Yeah, so if you type docker ps, see, one container is added, and here there would be another container would have added. See, one more container is added in manager node. So that is the beauty of draining the node, and when you drain the node, it will automatically reschedule the currently running containers to a different node. Yeah, so that is the beauty of it. So if you type docker service ps sleep -app, now see this. Now what happened here is this one was shutting down. It is running. Two things were shutting down on that particular node. See 63. Where is 63? This is 63. Okay, cool. So that's all, guys. Just to understand, make sure you keep practicing this. I have added these things in my GitHub, the commands, whatever I have typed, I will put it in the description. Now if you want to remove the service, docker, okay, first thing, list it out, then docker service rm, just type sleep app. Okay, now if you type docker service ls, okay, it will not work. Now the next thing is if you go to node 2, then if you type docker swarm, even if you just type docker swarm, it will tell you what all the things you can add. Now I just want to unjoin the swarm. So docker swarm leave, if you type, it will leave the swarm. Node has left the swarm. Here also if you type docker swarm leave, it will say node has left the swarm. If you go to manager node, if you type docker node ls, it will say like active, drain, active. Let's see docker node ls one more time. Okay, now see, one is down. Okay, docker node ls. Okay, now one is down, another one is down, and only one is ready. Okay, docker node ls, see this. And if you type docker swarm leave in the manager node, so you're attempting to leave the swarm on a node that is participating, removing the last message, all current state of the use force to ignore this message. So I'm gonna use the force to ignore the message. So now you don't have any docker swarm left. Now if you type docker info here, Okay, now if you scroll up, there is something called, which I have seen, swam, which says inactive, which means we have left the swam. Okay guys, I hope this is very interesting. I will paste the command details in the GitHub URL in the description. Please watch and please practice. So in the next video we will talk about the volume, guys. Yeah, thank you.